Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and we have a problem with Rachel Reeves. She is, I'm going to suggest, maybe a bit weak, because it looks like she's just going to capitulate straight away and hand the nurses and teachers the full 5.5% pay rise advised by the independent pay review body. I'm not for one moment suggesting that nurses and teachers don't deserve it. I'm just simply saying that it could be problematic. Now, we've got several reasons why. We're going to look at them when we look at the article. But one of the big problems is for Scotland, because obviously education and health are devolved matters. And while Rachel can sit there and hand teachers in England and Wales a 5.5% pay rise, this does not go north of the border. The SNP government is responsible for that. And we know the SNP government doesn't have the money. So all those teachers and nurses who are already higher taxed than their English counterparts, in worse working conditions, with more stress related to the job, with physical and sexual attacks higher in Scotland than in England, and are now seeing the English nurses and teachers earning extra 5.5%, with a pay rise, there's going to be a retention problem. Teachers and nurses in Scotland are going to quit and move south. And that's only the start of the problems involved with this. Let's have a look, see what's going on, and see why it perhaps isn't as good an idea as it first seems. So Rachel Reeves signals she will give more than 1 million teachers and nurses above inflation pay rises of 5.5%, suggesting it is needed to avoid strikes and end the recruitment crisis. But experts warn the £3 billion cost would mean tax rises or spending cuts. It won't be spending cuts, I'm afraid. It's going to be tax rises. So already highly taxed people will be taxed even more to cover it. That's the start. The second, of course, is the fact that it's 2.5 times the rate of inflation. It's more than doubling. Inflation is 2%. So giving them a 5.5% pay rise is a big pay rise. But as I say, it's going to be politically very, very difficult for Scotland to meet this. And so the NHS and the education system in Scotland are going to suffer even more. I'm surprised you haven't had the likes of Flynn coming out and begging her not to. Please, God, don't. We can't afford it. Well, you should have thought of that. Maybe, close an embassy or two. Anyway, that is not all the problem, because this will be an inflationary issue. It could keep interest rates high for everyone. So anyone who's got a mortgage may well be finding it difficult, and so many things like that. There's a lot of other things just other than just giving teachers and nurses a pay rise. And like I say, I do think they're worth it. I don't have a problem with paying people a proper wage for a proper job or anything. That's not it. But it's got to be phased. Can't be a big jump like this, because it will hit inflation. It will hit the inflation figure and cause misery for many. What it should be is an agreement that we go inflation plus a small amount, but guarantee it over the 5 years of a Labour government until it's brought up to the sufficient level. That's fine. It's only minor touches. Shouldn't affect inflation. But we shall wait and see. Anyway, Rachel Reeves signalled today she's prepared to give thousands of teachers, NHS staff and police officers above inflation pay rises. The new Labour Chancellor warned there was a cost to not giving them public sector pay rises in terms of strikes and recruitment problems. Retention is a big problem. It absolutely is. So I'm going to be fair to her there. The retention, especially in the NHS, has been problematic. So maybe it will help. It came after reports suggested independent pay review bodies have recommended a 5.5% rise for teachers and around 1.3 million NHS staff. This pay rise is in line with that given to the private sector. Again, I'm not saying it's unfair. I'm just saying it's a lot in one hit. It should be a phased rise. Inflation currently sits at 2%. There we go. Although it was a 40-year high of 11.1% just back in October 22. Speaking to the BBC, Ms Reeves said that the government will make sure the sums add up. I don't know. If she's got the old abacus out, I'm not sure she's doing it. She's already talking about closing down on the non-dom status, and we've seen the non-doms flee massively. They're all sodding off to Spain, where it's a lower rate and things like that. So her figures already aren't adding up. She's losing billions that she assumed she'd have because people run away when they're going to lose their money. It's easy to do if, especially, you've got capital that's easy to move. You can't hold it. It goes, this monetary flight. And I've said before, I've given the example of Norway, which brought in this high taxation for the ultra-rich, and every single billionaire, every single one, left the country within 72 hours. Because money. Simple as that. She says that the deal for teachers was on the desk of the Tory Education Secretary Gillian Keegan before the election, but she did nothing with it. The Chancellor has accused former ministers of running away from decisions on public sector pay, telling the BBC's Sunday with Laura Kuenssberg programme, they called an election, they didn't make the tough decisions, they ran away from them, and now it's up to us to help to fix it and pick up the pieces. Yes, well, we've seen how good you are with the economy, because remember 2010 and the note on the desk saying, sorry, there's no more money left. It's a bugger, isn't it? A respected expert has warned the Chancellor will either have to increase taxes or borrowing or make major spending cuts to services to find the extra money involved. Paul Johnson, director of the influential Institute for Fiscal Studies, said it would cost £3 billion extra for schools and the NHS alone. This is a problem that's only ever going to get worse. And the trouble is, they haven't budgeted for this rise previously. So now they are scrabbling, because they didn't know about it basically, but they are scrabbling now to find this $3 billion. And really, for Labour, the only thing they can do is tax. So they will put taxes up, and they'll do it sneakily, so they don't look like they're putting taxes up. What they will do is they will hold allowances, they will cut various things. They will do things sneakily. They won't headline it. They won't say, right, we're putting an extra 2% on rich people because bastards and we need their money. No. It'll be a little sneaky, hidden under the line, pretending we are too stupid to notice. But of course we are not too stupid to notice. We see everything. And we know what they're doing. We know what they're like. Anyway, there we go. So Scotland's going to be screwed. Everyone else who pays a mortgage is going to be screwed. The nurses and the teachers are going to be happy. Well, as happy as they can possibly be. And Rachel Reeves will just confirm that Labour are going to be a tax and spend government. And so expect within the next 4.5 years that the country will indeed be bankrupt. Probably going back to the international monetary system, try and borrow trillions of pounds to get us out of the financial hole the socialists will put us in again. Coming up. So here we are. It's only entering the third week of this Labour government. Still got nearly 5 years to go, and they're already blowing the economy, overpaying, making life miserable, and making the wrong decision. It's the Diane Abbott School of Economics. Do we think it's going to get better? Probably not. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.